Very good evening to all the students of second year BIPC. I hope you are in your extreme preparation for IPE, NEET and EAPZ exam. So yes, here NEET World has brought you a great helping hand that we are providing a free IPE modules for all the 4 subjects for free of cost. Okay. How you can get access to with these soft copies for free though? First thing, you have to join with us in the Telegram channel, that is NEET World 25 and NEET World 25 Instagram. You have to follow us on both Telegram and Instagram. The other benefit that you will get by following the Instagram and Telegram of our channel is you will be getting access with the more creative content in the form of shorts, in the form of reels and in the form of questions. Based on your previous year NEET and MSET questions, you will get creative shorts, reels and creative questions like replica questions of your previous year exams. So, first you have to follow on Telegram and Instagram, and then you have to subscribe to our NEET World channel, which is NEET World 2025, and then you have to download MedWorld app. Just say hi in the chat box. You will get all the 4 modules for free of cost, which are designed by experts of NEET World faculty. So, how you will get more information of this? You can just visit our official website, which is www.neetworld.in, or you can call us to the given number, which is over here in the slide, or you will get the number in the description. Okay? This is the complete information beta. And today we are going to exercise on transport in plant short answer type of questions. Okay. So far we have dealt with the long answer type of questions from photosynthesis in higher plants, respiration in plants, and then we have looked into the sewage treatment of microbes in human welfare, strategies of food enhancement, okay, food production and enhancement, and biotechnology, its principles, processes. From all these 5 chapters, we have exercised the long answer type of questions. And today we are looking into the short answer type of questions, where in chapter 1, that is transport in plants from plant physiology. The mostly asked question, how does ascent of sap occur in plants, in tall trees? Okay. How does ascent of sap occur in tall trees? This is the mostly asked question in your previous year IPE papers. If you can see, like in May 2024, May 2018, March 2015, March 2015. Okay. So, these many times the question is being repeated. So, if you have to learn this concept in relation with your MSET might be or your NEET might be, and how you have to present it well for your IPE exam to get all the 4 marks. Okay. Here is the way. First, you have to explain what is ascent of sap. Ascent of sap is upward movement of water and dissolved mineral salts from root hairs to root cortex, xylem, stem and then leaves. This is the upward movement that is being transmitting, that is from root hairs to root cortex, xylem, stem and lastly it is leaves. This will be done through tracheary elements. This will be done through tracheary elements, that is tracheids and vessels of the xylem tissue. This is the ascent of sap. So, the root hairs will absorb water from soil by the process of osmosis, and second, water will enter into the xylem of the roots and this will move upwards through what? Xylem vessels of the stem. Okay, this will move upwards through xylem vessels of the stem. Next, finally it reaches the leaves and growing tips, where it is utilized in photosynthesis and other processes. This is the sequential pattern of what you have to explain from the beginning, like flow of water from root hairs to the tip of the leaf, how it is being water and dissolved minerals are absorbed by the root hairs by the process of osmosis, and then to the xylem vessels and then to the tip of the leaf, and what is the benefit that it is getting. That is the process of photosynthesis. This is the beginning introductory session that you have to explain in your answer. Every answer you have to present it in a systematic way. That is very important. Okay. It is very important to present each answer in a systematic way. And the main driving force here is what? Transpiration pull. Transpiration pull is the main driving force, where transpiration is nothing but what? Loss of water vapor from leaf stomata. This is loss of water vapor from the leaf stomata, that is known as transpiration. This creates a negative pressure. That negative pressure is called as suction force in the xylem of leaf. This negative pressure will pull the continuous water column upwards from roots to the leaves. Okay, this negative pressure will pull the continuous water upwards to the leaves. Next, physical properties of water involved. What are the physical properties that are involved? First is cohesion. Cohesion, of course, for water movement, cohesion is very important, that is mutual attraction between the water molecules. Here, mutual attraction between water molecules keep the water molecules move continuously. And second is what? Adhesion, that is attraction between water molecules and the xylem vessels. This will help in water rise in the narrow tubes. How water can rise in the narrow tubes? This cohesion and adhesion forces will facilitate the movement of water all across the xylem vessels. Next is what ma? Tensile strength and capillarity. Tensile strength and capillarity. This will enable water to resist breaking under tension, and this will give rise in what? Xylem tubes. Okay, this will enable water to resist breaking under tension, and this gives rise in what? Xylem tubes. In young herbaceous plant, ascent occurs via primary xylem. Here ascent occurs via what? Primary xylem. Next, in woody trees, it takes place mainly through what? Tracheids, vessels of sapwood and secondary xylem. In woody trees, the movement will take place through tracheids, vessels of sapwood and secondary xylem. This is how you have to explain the transpiration pull and what are the properties that facilitate the ascent of sap. That will be cohesion, adhesion, tensile strength and capillarity. This will be there, and transpirational pull will be the main driving force. So, first how you have to describe this answer beta? Ascent of sap, how it is being transported from root hairs to the tip of the leaf, and then what will be the main driving force, that is transpiration pull, and lastly what are the physical properties that are involved for the water movement. Okay, this is the sequential way like how you have to present this answer of ascent of sap. Next, second question, if you see beta, this is on plasmolysis, again a major concept, many a times asked question, like in March 2018 might be and in May 2016. Here you see, first you have to define what is plasmolysis. Plasmolysis is nothing but shrinkage of cytoplasm and plasma membrane away from the cell wall when a plant cell is placed in a hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution means, for example, any concentrated sugar or salt solution. In such solutions, when a living cell is placed, what happens? Cytoplasm and cell membrane will be shrinked against the cell wall. For example, this is the normal shape of a cell. Okay, cytoplasm, cell membrane and the cell wall. This is the normal shape, let us assume. When it is placed in a hypertonic solution, be it a concentrated sugar or salt solution, a hypertonic solution, what happens is the cytoplasm will shrink and the cell membrane will shrink against the cell wall. Clear? Against the cell wall. This is how you have to explain first about plasmolysis. Diagrammatic representation is mandatory again. It is your wish whether if you draw the diagram immediately after the answer or after the stages of plasmolysis, that is completely your comfort. But if you give a diagrammatic representation like this, that will be impressive. Okay. Now, stages of plasmolysis. Stages of plasmolysis, you see, first a normal cell. How normal cell will be? Vacuole filled with cell sap. We know in a plant cell, any cell it might be, 90% of the cell's volume will be occupied by vacuole. Vacuole filled with cell sap, protoplast pressed against the cell wall in the normal cell. Incipient plasmolysis, first sign of shrinking. First sign of shrinking is named by what? Incipient plasmolysis. The first sign of shrinkage where protoplast will just begin to pull away from the cell wall at corners. Okay, where protoplast will begin to shrink away from the corners. Complete plasmolysis, if you see, complete plasmolysis, protoplast fully contracts and detaches from cell wall. Protoplast will completely contract and it will detach from the cell wall, leaving a gap, a small gap that is filled by external hypotonic solution. That small gap is filled by what? External hypotonic solution. What are the practical uses of plasmolysis? It will be good if you present the uses as well. First thing is what, ma? Food preservation. Okay, like in pickles, meat, fish are preserved by what? Salting. Jams and jellies are preserved by high sugar concentration. Both create hypotonic conditions that kill bacteria and fungi by inducing plasmolysis in their cells. Next is what? Weed control. Okay, salt application on lawns causes plasmolysis in weed cells, and this will lead to what? Their death. So, in weed control also plasmolysis concept is used. Next, for the experimental study, this is used in laboratory to demonstrate both osmosis and cell membrane permeability. So, this is how these are the uses of plasmolysis. First you will define the plasmolysis, then stages of plasmolysis, and lastly what are the uses of practical uses of plasmolysis. So, here if you see the plasmolysis diagram, just a second. Yeah, no issues, ma, it is not mentioned in the answer, but it will be impressive if you present. If you present the diagram of plasmolysis, that will be impressive. Okay. Next, transpiration and photosynthesis, a compromise. Okay. So, you have to explain the phenomena of transpiration and photosynthesis, a compromise. You have to explain that statement in an elaborate way. So, here in the answer if you see, photosynthesis will require water, while transpiration leads to what? Water loss through stomata. Okay. Transpiration here will lead to what? Water loss through stomata. And transpiration pull, this will provide a driving force for upward transport of water. Okay, this will provide a driving force for upward transport of water and minerals. Next is water supply. This will maintain continuous water flow to the mesophyll cells for photosynthesis. Then this will give cooling effect for transpiration will provide what? Cooling effect, where evaporative cooling reduces what? Leaf temperature, and this will protect enzymes. Next is turgidity. Turgidity, this will maintain cell turgor, keeping leaves expanded for efficient photosynthesis. This will keep the leaves expanded for efficient photosynthesis. Next, high water need. Active photosynthesis will increase dependence on transpiration driven water flow. Okay. So, active photosynthesis will increase what? Dependence on transpiration driven water flow. Third is limiting factor. What is the limiting factor? Excessive transpiration will cause stomatal closure, reducing carbon dioxide entry and photosynthesis. Okay. So, excessive transpiration will cause what? Stomatal closure, reducing carbon dioxide entry and photosynthesis. Next is what? Ecological impact. Large scale transpiration will maintain what? Atmospheric humidity, and especially in rainforest, this will maintain atmospheric humidity. Next is C4 adaptation. C4 plants and evolved mechanisms to fix more carbon dioxide with less water loss as compared to C3 plants. As compared to C3 plants, C4 plants have evolved mechanisms to fix more carbon dioxide and less water. Next, transpiration will aid photosynthesis, but this will compete for water. So, two processes exist in compromise. Okay, that is the reason two processes will exist in compromise. All the points which are given here should be maintained in the same pattern in sequence. Like you can give the points in alternate manner also, but then make sure you are presenting all the points in the exam. Okay, because for a 4-marker question, if you provide 8 points accurately, that is enough. Okay, provide 8 points accurately for 4 marks answer in a systematic way, then you will get a good mark. Here you see next question on stomatal opening and closure. Very important, stomatal opening and closure. Explain the mechanism of opening and closing of stomata. Here you see, which is asked in March 24th and March 2015. Look at this one. Stomata are small pores on the leaf surface which are surrounded by two guard cells. The stomata are covered by two guard cells. The guard cells shape will be varying based on the class. If it is monocots, you will have dumbbell shaped guard cells. If it is dicots, you will have bean shaped guard cells. The opening and closing of stomata will depend on the turgor pressure of guard cells, which act like valves regulating exchange, gaseous exchange and transpiration. So, here you can see stomatal opening first. What are the changes that you will observe in stomatal opening? First is ion movement. Light will trigger the active transport of potassium into the guard cells from surrounding subsidiary cells. You know, in a stomatal apparatus you will have stomatal pore, guard cells and subsidiary cells. So, from the subsidiary cells which are in close proximity with the guard cells, what happens? There will be active transport of potassium ions into the guard cells, okay, from subsidiary cells. Water potential will decrease. Here water potential will decrease, that is influx of potassium is accompanying passive intake of chlorine ions too. Okay, influx of potassium is accompanied by passive intake of chlorine ions also. Osmotic water uptake. Water enters guard cells by osmosis, which will make it turgid. Aperture formation. Thin walls, outer walls of the guard cells are thinner, inner walls of the guard cells will be thick. So, due to the accumulation of potassium ions, chlorine ions and water molecules, the guard cells will become turgid and they will wide open up the stomatal pore. They will get widened to open up the stomatal pore. Clear, right? Clear till here. So, the radial arrangement of cellulose microfibrils will facilitate this opening. Okay. So, the radial arrangement of cellulose microfibrils which are present in the guard cells, this will facilitate the opening of stomata. So, in the daytime, that is stomatal opening, what are the sequential changes that you see? First is ion movement, that is potassium ions and chlorine ions, water potential will be decreasing first, and then osmotic water uptake to the guard cells, and that will result in the aperture formation where the outer wall layers will be thin and inner wall layers of the guard cells will be thick. As such, the pore opening will take place. So, this is what first is stomatal opening, and it will be very impressive if you mention about cellulosic microfibrils. Okay, cellulose microfibrils, if you mention it, that will be very good. Next, during night time, what happens? Stomatal closure. So, diagram is mandatory beta. Diagram is mandatory. Okay, just give out a diagram on stomatal opening and closure. Okay, it will be impressive if you draw out the ion moments like potassium, chlorine, water influx, which results in the opening of the guard cells. If you mention that, if you give a diagrammatic representation, it will be more good. Next is during night time, that is stomatal closure. First is ion efflux. In guard cells, potassium and chlorine ions will exit the guard cells first. Okay, potassium and chlorine ions will exit the guard cells. This will increase their water potential. Next is water loss. Water will move out of the guard cells by osmosis. This will reduce the turgor pressure. Okay, this will reduce turgor pressure. Next, loss of turgidity. Guard cells will become flaccid first and they will unable to keep the pore open. First, guard cells will become flaccid and then closure of the pore. The elastic inner walls will return to their original shape. This will cause the stomatal aperture to close. So, the sequential description of stomatal opening and closure. Very simple beta. First you give out 4 accurate points on stomatal opening, then 4 accurate points on stomatal closure, and it is your comfort like where you are drawing out the diagram, whether in the beginning of the answer or in the midst or at the end, that is completely your comfort. But give out 4 points on stomatal closure, 4 points on stomatal opening with a diagram, then your answer will be impressive. Next, transpiration is a necessary evil. Okay, about transpiration, this is also once a time asked question, quite a times asked, important. So, here you see transpiration is a necessary evil, explain, which is asked in June 23, March 2020, May 2017 and March 2016. Here we go. First, Transpiration is the loss of water as vapor from the aerial parts of the plant, mainly through the stomata. This plays dual role, okay, this plays dual role, though indispensable for plant life. It can also be harmful in certain conditions. If transpiration is too heavy, that leads to dehydration of the plant and plant will die. Because of this contrasting effects, Curtis described transpiration as a necessary evil. Who said transpiration as necessary evil also you have to mention in the introductory paragraph. Okay. After which, advantages of transpiration. What are the advantages of transpiration? What are the advantages of transpiration? Here we go. First is transpiration pull for water transport. Okay, transpiration pull for water transport. It generates some suction force that helps in absorption and upward transport of water from roots to the aerial parts of the plant. So, this will provide the suction and transport from roots to aerial parts of the plant. Mineral transport and cooling effect. Dissolved minerals in soil water and dissolved minerals are transported to various parts of the plant through transpiration stream. The evaporative loss of water from leaf surfaces, this will lower what? Leaf temperature by above 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. This will lower down the leaf temperature. This will prevent what? Overheating. This will prevent overheating. Next, maintenance of turgidity and structure. By regulating the water content in the cells, transpiration will help to maintain what? Turgor pressure. By regulating the water content in the cells, this will help in maintaining turgor pressure, which keeps the cell rigid and supports the structure of leaves and young shoots. Fine, right? So, these are the advantages of transpiration. First is transpiration pull for water transport. Second is mineral transport and it gives cooling effect. Next, maintenance of turgidity and structure. Now, we will go on through the disadvantages of transpiration. Here also it is your comfort whether you can present first 4 points on the advantages and 4 points on disadvantages, or you can give a tabulated column on one side writing the advantages of transpiration, on the other side giving out the disadvantages of transpiration. Here we go, ma. Disadvantages of transpiration. Increased water demand. Plants engaged in active photosynthesis loss large amounts of water it will lose. It requires continuous absorption to compensate for the loss. Second is limitation of photosynthesis. If soil water becomes scarce, transpiration will rapidly deplete the availability of water, restricting photosynthesis and other metabolic activities. Next is risk of wilting, leaf wilting. Excessive transpiration, especially under hot and dry conditions, causes wilting of leaves, shoots, which will suppress the photosynthesis and slows the plant growth. Here in this question, any time you just remember the headings, sub-headings, and the explanation is up to your part. Use the proper terminology and explain in your own words, okay? But these main titles are important, okay? Next is leaf shedding under stressful conditions. During drought or reduced water availability, some plants will shed their leaves to minimize the further water loss, which will limit the photosynthetic capacity. This will be limiting what? Photosynthetic capacity. These are the disadvantages of transpiration. Next, define and explain water potential. Okay, very important question again. Water potential. Okay, so water potential is what? The measure of free energy of water molecules in a system compared to that of pure water under standard conditions. Under standard conditions, what will be the free energy of water? That is defined as what? Water potential. Direction of water movement. This will determine the direction in which water will move. Always it is from the region of higher water potential to lower water potential. Water moves from higher water potential to lower water potential. Next, water potential is expressed in what units? Pascals. Water potential is expressed in pascals and this is denoted by Greek symbol called as psi. Understood? Next, water potential of pure water at standard temperature and atmospheric pressure is defined as 0. okay, water potential or water movement at standard and temperature and pressure conditions is what? 0. Effect of solute. What will be the effect of solute here? Adding solutes will lower the free energy of water molecules because some water will bind to the solute particles, reducing their availability for water movement. So, the solute potential, which is denoted as psi s, this component of water potential will become more negative with increasing the solute concentration. So, here pure water has water potential of 0, but when solute is added, the water potential gets decreased. So, solute potential will always be negative, that is less than 0. Now, here is the concept about pressure potential. Pressure potential refers to the pressure exerted by water. Okay? Pressure potential is the pressure exerted by water. In plant cells, entry of water will create some turgor pressure. Okay? So, making psi p is usually positive. So, the turgor pressure which is more, right, this is created by water when it is entering into the cells. Fine, right. So, this pressure will always be positive. Solute pressure will always be negative. Okay? Solute potential will be negative, pressure potential is usually positive. So, turgid cells, pressure potential is usually positive. Flaccid or plasmolized cells, in plasmolized cells, as there is no pressure exerted due to turgidity, so the pressure potential will be 0. What is total water potential? How you will calculate? Total water potential is of a system in given formula is equal to water potential is equal to solute potential plus pressure potential. Okay, water potential is equal to solute potential plus pressure potential. Next, role in plants. What is the role of water potential in plants? Water potential will control the processes such as osmosis, nutrient absorption, transport of water, and this will maintain turgidity in the cells. Okay? The key concept here is water moves spontaneously from a region of high concentration, that is negative, less negative water potential, to more negative water potential. This will enable essential physiological activities in the plants. Okay? This will enable what? Essential physiological activities in the plants. Here we go with define and explain water potential, right. So, water potential we have defined, solute potential, pressure potential, and ultimately what will be the total water potential. Key concept is your exception, you can eliminate it and then role in plants. What are the major short answer type of questions that you have to focus from the beginning once we will recall? First, it is about ascent of sap, explain it with a diagram if possible. Second is plasmolysis. Okay. Diagram here, this diagram you can use it for transpiration pull, this diagram you can use it for ascent of sap as well. Third question, transpiration and photosynthesis a compromise, like give out the points in a more accurate way. Next is about explain mechanism of opening and closing the stomata. Remember all the points, give 4 points for opening and 4 points for stomatal closure, and diagrammatic representation, it is your comfort like where you are presenting the diagram, but give out the points in an accurate way. Next is about transpiration is a necessary evil. What are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of transpiration? Next is about water potential. These are the 6 questions to be highlighted from the chapter of transport in plants. And in our next class, we will go on looking into the short answer type of questions from further chapters like mineral, nutrition and photosynthesis. Okay. So, I would like to end up the session by giving you once again the brief note on how you can get the free materials for IPE from NEET World. Okay. You can just go firstly to our Telegram channel and Instagram, that is NEET World 2025, NEET World 25. Just follow us both in the Telegram and Instagram, and later download the app, that is MedWorld. Just say hi in the chat box. You will be getting the books where you can download it for free of cost. And the support is not just for your IPE exams, we extend the support both for NEET and EAP set exam as well, where the creative content is developed, the creative shorts and reels are being sent in the Insta. okay, where you can easily get through the concepts and revise it in more ways. And in your Telegram channel also, more creative questions or the replica questions will be given out based on the previous year questions. Okay. This is how you can get the access, complete access or complete help from our NEET world for your IPE, MCET and NEET. And to all the 12th standard students, a humble note from my end is, do not get stressed, learn the concept in such a way that you can attempt both the objective type of questions and subjective type of questions. Don't isolate your preparation and study separately for IPE and NEET. Okay? Learn the concept, learn the subject and be ready for both the type of exams. Okay? Just stay calm and cool, eat healthy and sleep well, then you will memorize more. Okay? And at the end, focus more on revision rather than running out for new concepts. Okay? So, that is all from my end beta. Thank you for today and meet you in next class.